Yo. I never knew what it could have been. Adrenaline kicking in, ain't no minute, man. We taking off for the cause and now by your miss. Putting out every fire like a fireman. I never knew what it could have been. Adrenaline kicking in, ain't no minute, man. We taking off for the cause and now by your miss. Putting out every fire like a fireman. I never knew what it could have been. The work we putting in won't be overlooked. Our body language, your boy looks shook, and he should be. I be Marcus can be at the rim, don't get touchy. I can't believe this is happening. The merge from north to south. I don't doubt many men, but many men in the end get lost. Hell of a cause, cause everyone trying to be the boss. But then society, give me a pause. Raise the applause for the fucking terrorism, making an error. Knee deep in every endeavor, stay classy and clever. Hieroglyphics to letters. Everything that I do is all for the better. I never knew what it could have been. Adrenaline kicking in, ain't no minute, man. We taking off for the cause and now by your miss. Putting out every fire like a fireman. I never knew what it could have been. Adrenaline kicking in, ain't no minute, man. We taking off for the cause and now by your miss. Putting out every fire like a fireman.
Yeah. You never knew that I spit them scriptures like rabbi. Spit that fake shit, never have I. You don't wanna be an enemy, but then I lie. Before I have to cut your body parts like a tan line. You out your damn mind, thinking you could box with us. We like some juggernauts, homie, you ain't stopping us. Pop the clutch, speeding off with lots of bucks. You watching us, get blinded when we cock and bust. Don't ever worry about what could have been. Death around the corner, know the casket's what they put me in. Living on the bottom of the bottom, what I'm looking in. I'm going after every fucking thing that I should have been.
I never knew what it could have been. Adrenaline kicking in, ain't no minute, man. We taking off for the cause and now by your miss. Putting out every fire like a fireman. I never knew what it could have been. Adrenaline kicking in, ain't no minute, man. We taking off for the cause and now by your miss. Putting out every fire like a fireman.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Kick It Podcast brought to you by Kick It Labs. As you know, in this platform, we do broadcast these episodes live, coming to you from the beautiful city of Oceanside. My name is Victor V, joined by my brother and co-host of the episode, Mr. Bruce.
Yo.
And on this episode right here, we're actually joined by a returning guest. We've had him maybe about a year and a half ago. It's been a minute, but we're definitely catching up with our homie Dentlok, coming from San Diego, man. Huge arts leader and great muralist from out here in the community. So Dentlok,
What's up?
Welcome back, bruh.
Thank you. What's up, guys? Thank you for having me here. I'm glad to be back.
Yeah, it's been a journey, man, since last time we had you. I mean, you've been doing a lot of crazy stuff. I mean, aside from your mural being taken down last time, I mean, you've been up here in Oceanside also working on some stuff out here at Valderrama Park, still doing stuff down at Cesar Chavez Park, and now these projects that are coming full circle for you too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Chicano Park, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot, man. A lot keeps going on, you know. Like, you mentioned about Valderrama Park, man. That made me very happy, bro. Like, you know, it kind of, to me, it's like I'm the only one that got the blessing to be a boat of the oldest Chicano parks in San Diego, right? Like, you know, Valderrama Park has its deep history as well as Chicano Park, and then I get to share a piece of both of those places. So that's a great honor.
Yeah, even with that, man, Osai hit ups. I think he spoke about it here last episode when he was on. But the city of Oceanside also got you like a recognition or something, right, for being part of the Balderrama project.
Yeah, yeah, they did. That was pretty cool, man. I was excited for that. It's hanging in my house for sure.
Hell yes.
I had to get framed and posted, that way they could see it. We did that, and I got another one similar to that from the Chicano Park murals. We ended up going to do like an art show at the Pomona, and the state gave us an award for that too, like a state recognition. So that was pretty cool, adding on to my stash.
Hell yes. But stoked, dude. Super stoked. Um, like you were talking off the camera, like your studio this last year that we haven't seen you. That's also the thing that you've been really concentrating on.
Yeah, definitely. It's I think I got it a little after I came last time, right?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think so. You
Yeah,
you were in the works.
Yeah, same the faith, man. And, it just shows up. Like the universe lines up everything for me. Like after I left, went home. The shop that I was working at, things started to change, and I didn't like it. I told my wife, like, hey, I think it's time for me to move on. It's time for me to get a new spot. I went on Craigslist that night, and that was the first thing that popped up. Tattoo studio open in Barrio Logan. I was like, what? I sent an email and lined it up. I made an appointment with the guy, with the manager. We went through the place, the studio, take a look at it, and then when we were done, he says, well, like if you want the spot, it's yours. And I said, oh fuck yeah. It worked out pretty good. Like so what he says, like I already know who you are, Dent. So you don't need to file the application. If you want it, it's yours.
Totally.
Yeah,
That's
so
right.
it landed on my lap. I couldn't say no. It's like, oh, fuck it, bro. I'm in. Let's go. Let's do this. Let me sign that paper. Like you still gotta do legit and sign the lease.
Yeah.
But an application and all that definitely speed up the process. And now it's been almost getting to a year and a half. So it's good. It's become like my base of operations. Everything happens in that spot. I tattoo, I paint, make appointments, and there was a point where I was going there in the morning doing a tattoo, going to Chicano Park and working on the restoration process, and then going to do a graffiti class, and then coming back the next day and doing the same thing, just back and forth. And that's where I would just stop by, change clothes, and go to a class, come back, change clothes, go do a mural, and it became very useful.
Sick. So how far is your studio from the park?
Like a block and a half.
Shit. Hell yes. That's
Yeah.
a come up. That's a come up.
Definitely, man. It's in the heart of Barrio Logan, it's a beautiful community, and they're taking me in, and I feel at home there. I feel accepted. All the homies know me, like all the people around the block who know me. I got along. I got in to say what's up to everybody, and have a conversation here and there. Just try to keep that relationship going. So I feel there's a lot of love there, and I feel it.
Glad to hear it, Dentlok. Glad to hear it. So tell me, were you able to attend this past weekend to the park day?
I did. I didn't this year. I backed up a little bit from helping out at the park, so I didn't volunteer. Last year I did a lot of volunteering, and I was part of the whole process of Chicano Park Day. But this year I took a step back, and I did focus a little bit more on on my other projects that I have. And I have my youngest daughter with me, so I took it to work with me. It was like bring your daughter to work day. She had a good time, so it was me and her, my little one, my 7-year-old, and we went walking around the park, checking out the cars, checking out the people. This time it was all local, like all the lowrider cars were local, the vendors were local, so I knew a lot of the people. So just went in, saying what's up to everybody, and then go back to the shop, do a quick tattoo, and then take her back outside, go take a walk around again, check it out
Sick.
again, come back, do another tattoo, and then go home. So it was cool. She liked it. I kept her busy.
Nice. It sounds like a full day.
Sound like a great Saturday, man.
It was.
Yeah.
It was. She was happy. She made me walk home too. She's like, we need more exercise.
Need a third walk, a fourth walk, and a fifth walk. Let's go.
Yeah. I live like it's a 15, maybe 20-minute walk from the shop from that Logan Avenue, so it's not far. You know, it was a good walk for me and her to just walk around and take our time. That was cool. Little father-daughter time.
Yeah, sick. I want to go ahead and take a step back. Talk about Balderrama Park. From your perspective, Dentlok, what were the challenges that you saw facing while Balderrama Park was in the process of getting the murals down?
Personally, it was trying to get up here. You know, because I don't drive. I don't have a car, so I had to use public transportation. I took the coaster for the first time to get over here to the park.
And how's that experience?
That was fun. I definitely want to do it again. It was cheap. I think it was like $18
Not
to
bad.
get the pass and come and it dropped me off right in Oceanside, and I took one bus. It took like 5 minute bus ride, and I was at the park. So that was fun, and I had a good time. I got to work with my homie Mister. I don't know if you guys met Mister, but he's from Tecate. He's a dope artist, man. Every time me and that fool team up, it's like like a good team up. Wherever I'm slacking, he's good at. And I'm honestly, I think he's better than me, like way better than me. So being around him benefits me more because I'm watching this fool.
That's
What are you
right.
doing? How you doing that? He mixes colors with the cans. Like that's a trip, man. Like so, what I like about that is that he's not limited to the colors that you could buy, because he knows how to get one color into another can and mix that up and make it up. So it makes things easier, like blending different tones and colors. It's cool. Getting to watch him do that, it was pretty tight. So it was cool. Again, the park, being in this park, it was a blessing. Oside really blessed me with that opportunity. I was happy to do it, and I was very honored. So we went and we came hard. We came to show that we were good, and we were gonna do some dub piece, and the piece that he asked us to do was I think his name. It's one of the OGs from Pozole, right? From the way they describe. I got to meet him. I'm brain farting his name.
Nah, all good, dude. It's all good.
But yeah, shout out to the OG. He was like the way Osai described him to me is like everybody's uncle. The one in the neighborhood that people rely and go to and all that. So he's like a pillar of the community. So for us to get the opportunity to be able to represent his car, because that's what we did. We did a lowrider. We did his car and we put it on the wall. So that was a great honor. Just being able to represent somebody so important to the community, and make sure that he was happy, that he could see his car, that was him, that's all him. So that was cool. I was happy to do that. And working with Mister was, yeah, it was going so good. Yeah.
That's right. That's right. That was a great answer right there. Thank you for sharing that insight, bro.
Yeah, shout out to everybody tuning in. Don't forget, this is the Dentlok interview, doing the follow up with my boy. And so far, it's been great, dude.
If you haven't done so yet, go ahead and give a follow, like, share, and subscribe. You also got the homie Dentlok's IG tag on the screen as well. Go ahead and shoot him a follow. Follow on his journey, man.
Yeah,
He's
go
a dope ass artist.
Go get tatted up real quick at his studio.
Definitely, man. Come get a cover up. I'll
He'll
fix that ugly tattoo you got, man. I'll make it nice.
change the name.
Yeah. Alberto gotta go.
Hey, well, I got a couple comments out here coming through the YouTube. Shout out to the YouTube comments. All right, let's see. We got a couple of emojis coming through. Cassandra.
Oh, yeah, that's the wife.
Nice. Hey.
Shout out to the wife and my daughters.
We got Ricardo Arroyo saying, my boy is one hell of a guy, an amazing artist. Much love. That's
Shout
right.
out to Ricardo.
Hell yeah. Yes. So far, that's about it for
Then we got for the YouTube.
YouTube. Now we're transitioning to Instagram. A lot of people tuning in on Instagram. Also, shout out to the Instagram. No emojis, no comments for now, but yeah, still rolling through.
And once again, this is a Tuesday episode going on. This is one of those episodes where we had to get this one down, and we had to make time for this.
Yeah, nobody expecting it, but we're definitely ready.
Yeah, man.
Oh yeah, thank you guys.
Yeah. And bro, you know all the homies out here, bro. Honestly, like all the homies from my generation, like they know you and shit, and you know them. That shit is sick as fuck, bro.
Yeah,
Dude,
that's
yeah,
cool. Hell
yeah.
yeah. It
I
just
didn't
happened.
expect that way until like this most recent project at the park.
Uh
I'm
huh.
like, oh shit, like you know the homie Denton, he's like, yeah. I'm like, fuck
Hey,
yeah, fuck yeah.
yeah, that's cool. Hell yeah.
Um, I just want to go ahead and ask another question here. What advice would you give for an up and coming artist to level up, um, uh, on their art and be step it whether they're being a muralist or a tattoo artist or like just basically transforming their level of art into a career. What advice would you give them?
Boy, if you want to do it, just do it. You know, don't wait until you're ready or until you think you're ready. Because if you do that, you're just gonna end up waiting and waiting and waiting. So, I think the best thing to do is just tackle it. You know, like everybody starts somewhere, and if you don't start, you will never know if you're gonna get there. And then once you start, put in the work, put in the hours. You know, like everybody put in 10, 20,000 hours. You know, the more practice you do, the more you try it, the better you'll get. You know, practice, practice, practice. It doesn't make perfect, but it makes improvement. You know, knowledge. I always share that, man. If you got an opportunity to learn, learn. You know, I've been blessed that I ran into OGs that that had the knowledge and they like me. You know, I think maybe because I got manners. And I listen, you know, like that's the thing, you know, listen, man. When OG starts talking, you be quiet, you listen, you hear them out. Because, you know, if anything the guys experience, you know, and then they're willing to share it with you. You may not use it at that moment. It might not be relevant to you at that moment, but 5 years, a couple years later, you're gonna remember that. You're like, oh man, that fool taught me how to do this. So now I know how. Like, and in that moment, you'll use that knowledge. You'll use that little bit that you learn, and it'll come in handy to you. You know, so keep your ears open. You know, keep your mouth closed. You know, and I was learn. You know, keep learning.
Damn, that's a dope
That's
ass
right.
response right there.
Yeah, everybody take out your notebook, write it down, giving out gems.
And another thing I want to also touch base on is I saw your story the other night where you attended City Hall down in San Diego.
Oh yeah, man.
Could you tell us how that experience was?
It was cool. It was good. It's not my first time. I've gone a couple times before. Last time we went to fight for that pennies for the arts. You
Yeah.
know, we're trying to take a penny out of every dollar in the budget of the city, so that all that gets distributed, and you know, so it helps support the community bands and all this community arts that happen. And we got it passed. You know, that was a very exciting time because it passed. That was cool. And then now this time we win because we got a new budget. You know, and this budget sucks. They it's affecting a lot of people. It's gonna affect a lot of neighborhoods. You know, I think the biggest example there is that there was people from La Jolla. You know, in San Diego, all the districts are separate. I think La Jolla is District 1. And then they're one of the best served districts. And if La Jolla is there to ask for money, imagine the Southeast. You know, the underserved communities that are more south, all those neighborhoods, they're struggling. You know, La Jolla is struggling, we're struggling. We're doing bad, you know, and if you're going to take this money away, it's going to hurt us more. And it doesn't make sense, you know, like arts and cultures is what makes the communities. And it's like the root of every community. And that's what keeps them strong. And if you take the money away from it, you're gonna hurt generations. You know, they're planning on closing rec centers early, closing bathrooms. They're closing the libraries on Sundays and Mondays. So now the libraries will be closed. They won't be open. They're gonna lose programs that they have. You know, so it's gonna be difficult. You know, what I want to say there was that I don't know if you know, but the first African American astronaut got the idea to be an astronaut in the library. You know, I'm pretty sure Tony Wan and all these like athletic legends that we have in San Diego, they all started at rec centers and little leagues. You know, and these places are gonna get cut out. So these little leagues and libraries have built and started legends, and bike lanes have not. You know, so freaking our majors, Tug Gloria is building bike lanes, and they're getting more money. So they rather build bike lanes than build better futures for our kids, and that's just wrong. You know, so I don't like that, and I had to go. I had to go support. There was a lot of people that showed up for Arts and Cultures. We were heavy. The moment they left, the room was almost empty. You know, like so we made a difference. I decided I had to go up there and let those guys know, like, you're not helping. You know, but if you really want to help, this is how you do it. They want to take that money and dump it into to the police department, the fire department, the rescue department. Which those two are good. Rescue and fires, we definitely need that. The police department, well, we could debate that. You know,
That's a good one.
definitely. Because like I deal with a lot of youngsters. I work with the youth. Like I work with this organization where we intercept kids from probation and the parole offices in San Diego, and they get to come to this class with me where I get to teach them graffiti. Well, not graffiti, but like basics of art. Line weights, shadows, 3D drawing, and all these things that it will help them develop a skill. And so when I'm with these youngsters, I ask them like why did you do what you did to get in trouble? Because if they're in my class, that means they had to get arrested and had to go through the system, and the system that told them they had to take my class. And so they take my class and they learn a skill and they get out of whatever problems they're in. So I asked them why they did it, and most of them said I was bored. So I got to realize that if we keep them busy and we show them something to do, they won't do stupid stuff. Or they might still do stupid stuff, but they'll be a little more educated about it. Or they have the ability, like, if I do this, I lose that. But if we don't give it to them, they won't. They'll just keep doing it. So by doing this, by keeping these kids busy, they won't get in trouble. They won't cause problems. So we won't have a need for more police presence. Those kids will learn a skill that will teach them something. They will grow to be better. They'll be able to learn, get knowledge, open up a small business, succeed, get out of the hood, and we'll break that cycle of the generational problem. We'll get that going, and we won't need that much police. We won't need to give them those extra millions of dollars. They're dumping a bunch of money in this program called No Shots Fired, which is supposed to teach them better, think better about what they do. But it's crazy, because 2 weeks ago, I was working on my Ray Mysterio wall, and maybe like 3-4 blocks away, they murdered this 16-year-old kid. He got shot 26 times. He was 16 years old. And if a group of police is scared of a 16-year-old, we have some problems. And if I just thought to myself, what if I had met that kid, and I could have told that fool to come and paint with me? Maybe his life could have been different. He could still be around. Maybe another mentor in my organization could have taught him to do something better. He could have been doing that, and then we would have skipped the whole problem. But we didn't, and we need to refocus, and change the problem at the root. Catch them when they're young. That's the best way.
Yeah, it's all about breaking cycles, and like you said, showing them new ways, teaching them new ways, and how to better serve their community.
And how long you been with this organization? Dentlok?
With this one, almost a year. Almost a year, yeah. But I started doing this like my other homie. It was crazy too how that happened, bro.
Oh, okay.
So when I was 15 years old, this OG came. He's from New York. He's like graffiti writer. His name is Post 2. And he came to my high school, and he did a mural program in my high school. And I painted my first mural as a 15-year-old in high school. And I didn't touch murals for like another 10, 12 years. But yeah. But that was the seed,
Yeah.
That was that seed that this OG planted in my head. And it took all these years for that seed to take off and fly off. So I found myself thinking about this. Like I was talking to my wife about it. And it's like, she always taught me too, like, oh, you should teach. You should you should show this kid something, And I was thinking about it, and I was really, really thinking about it for that whole week. And my friend calls me. He's like, "Hey, wait, I got these kids at this program. Excuse me. They can will you be down to come teach them?" And I was like, "Fuck yeah, bro! I've been thinking about it all week."
Mine.
Yeah, because I didn't know where to start. I didn't know what door to go knock and be like, "Hey, let me teach some kids." Like how
Right,
to.
right.
It was interesting to think about that. And then I guess I spoke it into existence, and the message got to my homie somehow, and he thought about me, and he brought the idea to the table. He brought me in, and that started the first class. I did a quick summer program with the kids at the Logan Heights CDC, and I teach them art, and then that just opened up an idea for another one, and then it developed. Then my homie Emilio came. He like, "Hey, let's do that same program over here, but let's do it more consistently." Cool, cool. And so he got me in, and I started with one kid, and then two kids, and three kids, and at one point I had over 8 kids in my class, sometimes 10. It varies, but and it's kind of bittersweet to be in these classes because, like, I want more students, but I don't want more students.
Yeah, the situation that basically the whole program is converting them from being troubled youth into finding themselves and expressing themselves more to be themselves and valued, like in the community that they want to be brought up in, because like you said, they're bored and they need stuff to do. They need to feel like they're out there and they're with their people, like with everybody.
Yeah, definitely some validation, some inclusion, make them feel something. So like it works, I noticed it worked. I seen these kids leave, and when they leave, I hand them like a pack of markers or a pack of pens and pencils with a notebook, with a sketchbook, and like, "Here you go, bro. This is for you. Keep painting, keep drawing."
That's right.
Create. I got a little one because it fits in their pocket.
Yeah.
Carry that shit with you. And then that's the only way you'll keep going. And I tell them not to worry about what it looks like because we could go. Art is so subjective. It's in the eye of the beholder, and we could look at Picasso, and then we could look at Michelangelo, and they're completely different. At one point Picasso's artwork was just completely crazy looking. And so one of the times I saw this kid, he did this drawing, and when I came around to look at it, he kind of hit it. He was a little like hesitant to show me, but I convinced him to show me, and he showed it to me, and it was like a warped up Homer. He looked all warped, like you press that warp and you go like this, and you just twist him up. That's what it was.
Hey, Homer Simpson?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting. Good take into it. But he thought it looked ugly, and I was like, "Nah, bro, this don't look ugly. It's different, But let me show you Picasso." And I put one of Picasso's pieces on my phone, and I'm like, how much different is this from what you drew? And it's like, "Not a lot." I'm like, "Cool. Well, this fool's painting is worth millions of dollars, and your artwork is not that much different from his. So yours is worth the same. Yours could be worth the same, and you could learn, and you could be better than this guy."
Dude, I like how you brought that up because actually we just had Dinah on the other podcast the other day, and she was talking about something similar to what you're talking right now, man. Like being able to make a name for yourself, mark yourself where they could appraise your art and give it a figure, a number, because sometimes when art's not presented or pushed in that way, when you're consistently doing stuff independent, sometimes you get the shorter end of the stick, and you're not as valuable, quote unquote. And fuck that shit's, it's a trip. A Picasso compared to your student, I mean, it's still art, still hits the same, but I don't know. Fuck, dude. I just want to know crazy circle.
Yeah, bro, that was a great advice you gave to that dude, bro.
Yeah,
That
hell
was
yeah.
great. Hell yeah.
Yeah, well, my goal is to get them to do it. Get them to just do it. It doesn't matter what it looks like. It could be anything. I mean, there was a guy that taped a banana to a blank piece of canvas,
I remember that.
and it sold for like what, like $180,000,
Yeah.
right?
No, I thought it was like 1.2 million or something like that.
Bro, either way, that's a shit lot of money for that.
Yeah,
How long is that banana gonna last?
Art is subjective sometimes.
Yeah, but that's the ability that they got, and that's the point I tell these youngsters, like, and anybody that I run into, honestly, it doesn't matter if you're old or young, if you want to do it, just freaking do it, it doesn't need to be good, it doesn't need to look nice, or it will look nice to somebody, but do it for yourself, do it for your soul, do it to make yourself happy, that's what I learned I think when I started to improve in art, in my paintings, was when I switched that up, and I decided to paint for myself, paint shit that will make me happy, made it look like it makes me happy. And if you don't like it, fuck it, I like it. And if it sells, cool, I'm excited. Thank you. If not, fuck it, I'll keep it. I did it for me. I was stressed out that day, and I painted this, and I feel better. Do that. Do it for that. Do it to make yourself happy. Don't worry about what other people think and what they want. It doesn't matter. They'll like it. Somebody will like it. There's how many millions of people in the world? Somebody say that looks pretty cool. And that's the one you gotta listen to. And you just keep it going. That's just what it is.
Great way to dissect it right there. True shit. What is like 4 billion people in the planet? Somebody's gonna like your shit.
Yeah, exactly. Somebody will. There's a market for everybody. And I think that's also the point too. You gotta find the market. If you want to go through that cell, you'll find your market, or they'll find you. You just put it out there. And now it's so much easier than it was 20 years ago, even 10 years ago. It's not the same. Now social media will blow you up. Like I remember when COVID hit, I had this high school homie. I know him since like middle school, and I know that fool didn't draw for shit. And like I drew and painted, and I would draw every day, and he never did. But during COVID, this dude figured out how to attach a canvas to a drill, and then he got some splatter paint splattered on it, spun it with the drill, and it did this crazy pattern. And he was selling those things like $400 a pop. Within a couple weeks, he had over 100,000 followers doing that. Like it's art. That's it, man. Fuck. I mean, I was a little jealous. I was like, God damn it.
I think I saw that post before too, but I think I knew who you're talking about.
What?
Yeah.
There was a couple people that started doing the same thing.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it was during that time too. That's crazy. You're right.
Yeah, and it worked for him. Good for the homie. That one made some money, and I hope he's still making money.
That's right.
But it just proves that anybody can do it.
Like you said, there's a market for everybody.
There is a market for everybody.
Yeah, definitely.
We do want to go ahead and touch base now. You mentioned earlier, the Rey Mysterio mural.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. I'm getting distracted by some of these comments on YouTube.
Before we touch base into that conversation, let's get the comments out the way.
Let me tune into the Instagram. Everybody on the Instagram, on the YouTube, much appreciated. Thank you so much. We are still here with Dentlok, straight kicking it on a Tuesday from Kicker Labs. All right. Also on the Instagram, we actually had a lot of people tuning in, and also a couple of comments dropping. We got s8e8 hit up saying my boy Dentlok is badass with a couple of little emojis right there. Again, people tuning in and out. Then on the YouTube, we got a comment right here. Shot at Bryant said, I missed the Rey Mysterio mural was fire or fire as fuck. Yeah.
That was a good little intro right there.
But the Rey Mysterio mural was badass, dude. It was still kind of rough that the way that it came to an end. The people buying the new building and then just scrubbing it out. That wasn't cool, dude. I mean, Rey Mysterio even saw that mural before he got taken down and, said something about it.
Yeah, man, that thing grew, it became a giant. But I knew it was going to.
That's right.
I knew it, since my homie Larry brought the project to me, and, he thought of me when this popped up. I knew it, it was in my mind. I had no doubt that I was gonna make it look good and that it was gonna stand out. And it definitely sucked when I saw it gone, but But same, like I think I'm blessed. I got a lot of people that stand behind me and that help out and support. And OG Mario Torero, he had one of the best advice that I ever had. He's like, this is what you want. You want your art to create something, and then this piece of art just created your origin story. So I could use this like my origin story. That's where like when this happened, I came up more on the map. Like I was able to make waves with it. And I saw as bad as it became a great opportunity to flip it and get more out of it, and make it a more positive thing. And then now instead of just doing it by myself, well, I mean, I had my wife and kids help me, the homies help me, but now this time the team is bigger. Like there's more people standing with me, down to help, doing this, and it's great. It makes me very happy to see it like grow so much, and it makes me happy that it has made me able to provide opportunities for the homies. Like I was telling you, we had a conversation with and I got a connection, a plug to the San Diego Comic Con Museum, and they're gonna be launching a lucha libre exhibit for the next year, and they're interested and they want to display the whole story of the mural. I went to meet with the curator and the manager. I took my daughters with me, so they were backing me up. And when I was there, I explained everything that happened. From when OG Ruben came up with the idea, and he ran into my homie Snaps Larry, and he thought of me, brought me in. We got the wall, we painted the wall, we got the money, and we kept going. We did the reveal, and we had Matt One, we had Rey Mysterio Senior and Conan. Like the whole Lowrider Coalition showed up. It was like 5, 6 different clubs, the car clubs that pulled up, even a bike club, and all these people pulled up, and we made a big event out of it. The homie Matt One did a sick ass video on it, so that was pretty tight, And we're gonna display that into the mural getting erased, and the mural being on this podcast with like millions of followers, and Rey Mysterio talking about it, and he'd been showing the mural that he showed the mural in the podcast and talked about it, so that was all exciting. It was in the newspaper in Tijuana, so all that was really great. We're gonna put that as a story, and then when they raised it, how we went and raised awareness. We went to the news. There was like 3 different news reports on that wall about what happened to the wall, and that's just because I kept bugging them, like, hey, come show this, like they did this, talk to me, well, that helped, like look at what they did, and it helped, and it turned out great, and all that raised awareness, and then the homies at the great area, the Soul Factory, they offered to help, to support us and sponsor part of the wall. The rest of the community pulled up and they supported. We were able to secure this huge wall. I think it's almost 5, so it's 160 feet by 24 feet.
Holy shit.
Yeah, that's almost over 4,000. Let me make a quick.
That's a lot of square footage, dude. That's like, yeah, like over 2,000 square feet.
Right. We're doing some calculations down there.
3,840 square feet of, beautifulness. It was an ugly wall. Yeah. It was an ugly wall, man. That wall used to get hit up, and they have a big problem with tagging. So that was our leverage. And, that's how we emailed them, like, hey, your wall gets messed up. I'm sure you spend a whole lot of money in painting and buffing it. And a week later, it's hit again. If you guys give us a wall, we can solve the problem. And we stuck through it, and it's been through even since the moment we threw up the sketch. I put the sketch on the wall to stop hitting up the wall. Because it's like I went and buffed the wall, I primed it, and maybe like a month later, the neighborhood hit it up. Yeah. They're like, hurry up, Dad. To me, that was what they're trying to tell me. I need to hurry up and get it done. So I buffed that, and I threw the sketch up, and then didn't touch it again. You know, maybe a couple months because it took a while to get the money together and all that.
Yeah, all the materials and like everything all together, and then other people
Yeah,
like helping you out.
yeah, we were waiting on money on it because it takes a lot of money to be able to buy all that paint. You know,
Dude, well, it's a big wall.
dude, yeah, just the primer was almost 10 gallons of paint, and that was just 2 coats. So that was a lot, and we got to spend a lot on spray cans and everything. So it took a while to get that, but once I got it, one day I got tired of it. Oh, you know what? Rey Mysterio Senior passed away, so I was sad because I wanted to finish it before he passed away. So I didn't know he was going to, but I would have liked to be done before that happened, so we could invite him back and so he could see himself be portrayed again. Like be displayed and like represented in the community. Because he was a part of that neighborhood too. A few blocks down from where the mural is at, he had a gym, and he trained kids, and he had lucha libre events and all that. So he was part of the community of that neighborhood, and then so it was important for him to see it, but we didn't get a chance for that to happen. And after that, I couldn't wait any longer. I couldn't keep winning the money, so I had a good month at work, and I got extra cash, so I grabbed that extra cash and I went to spend it on paint. And I called the homies and like, hey, I got paint. Let's get started. And they came, and it's been going. I think we're going on like 6 months of painting, of working on that wall on just one side. So
Wow, dude, 6 months, that's a whole half a year. But I know you're getting close. From the pictures that I've seen, the detailing that you guys been working on, it looks like it's almost about done.
yeah, definitely. I think no, I guess we're at 75%.
Okay, that's pretty close.
That's
Yeah.
a good figure to be at.
Yeah, as a whole, right?
Yeah.
Because it's a long wall and then a corner wall.
Yeah.
So I think one's 140 feet, 120 feet, 130 feet long, and the other one is the extra 30 feet. So a total of 160 feet. So that big wall, that's where I have all the characters, and that's where all my homies pull up and helped out. That's what we've been working on. So that's almost done. If I was just to break it apart into two separate murals, that one's about 90% done. At this point, it's just financing, detailing some more stuff, retouching paint because the background needs to be layered again. Lay that paint thick so it looks nice and saturated and it'll last a long time. But we're almost there. We're almost there. And so the other wall, I already shot the sketch. So, because I used the projector. So we're in and it does the trolley tracks. So
That's smart.
Yeah. So we had to get a lift and the ladder, and we went up there and fucking covered the streetlights with sweaters. And so we sat in the middle, and it was me and my homie Drex, and we were taking turns because one of us has to be in the middle, holding the projector, because we're in the trolley tracks, and the trolley was passing by. So every time the trolley passed by, we had to move it and wait for the trolley to go, and then put it right back. So what we did, I spray painted the legs, so it made like a little square because it was on a stool.
Yeah.
So I could place the stool right back to the spot that we were in. That's how we were able to keep it in the same position. But that's what made it a little bit difficult. But it's up there now. But I haven't post anything about it. Like nobody, like if you drive by, you'll see it because I can't hide it. But I'm not sharing it on social media, so people don't know that it's there.
Right.
So what is it that you have on that little sidewall?
On that, that's a secret.
Yeah.
You gotta come back for that. We got some crazy stuff going on. I got a whole plan for it. Me and talk to the homies. I talked to the guys at the Soul Factory. I got a plan with Mad One and Ruben about what's gonna go down with it. But this Comic Con stuff, this museum stuff, they came together. The Comic Con Museum and the Lucha Libre Museum in Tijuana are working together with the Mexican consulate in San Diego, and they came up with this event called LuchaCon. And so when they were looking for a venue, they found the Soul Factory, and they brought it to them. And then the homie said, Soul Factory, well, that's cool that you're doing that. Our homie Dent is doing that piece over there. And so they showed him that piece, and then that's how the Kami Museum found out about what I was doing, about the whole wall. And that's how that whole connection came to pass. So what we're going to do in May 19 at the Soul Factory from 12 to 6, we're going to have LuchaCon. I'm going to be part of it. My homies are going to be part of it. We're going to open the gates at the Soul Factory and reveal that part as being finished. Like where the characters are. With Rey Mysterio. It's Rey Mysterio Sr., Psychosis, Rey Jr., Dominic, and Conan. So the 5 guys are on the main big wall, and we're going to reveal it as being finished. Like, so this is finished. But I have another side. And that side is what tells the story. So you guys need to come back for that. Like kind of like a little gift. So it's gonna help out. And we got news of something might happen. It's still on the talks. But the WWE is coming. It's coming to San Diego.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Survivor Series.
Survivor
In
Series.
November.
In November, it's coming up, bro.
Oh, so we might work something out with them.
Oh shit.
For that date. So if that's gonna happen, that's when we're gonna do the whole reveal. Like that's when the mural is gonna be done. We're done. I'm not doing shit to it. I'm recording this motherfucker. We're done. So that day we're gonna have the band, lowriders, same thing. Have all the lowriders pulled up, bike clubs pulled up, the whole community pulled up. We're gonna be able to get these OGs and these wrestlers to come through and make it free and open for the community. I'm hoping that we're able to bring a lot of kids so that the youngsters could see this and they have this memory of what we did there. Because at the end, like bringing this type of artwork to those streets that's what makes it better. Because now these youngsters, they don't need to go to the museum to see this stuff. They'll just walk outside and look at it and be like, damn, that's in my hood. I want to do some shit like that. And hopefully it'll inspire some other kid. And in 20 years from now, that fool's gonna run into me and be like, hey, that Rey Mysterio you painted, that inspired me to do what I'm doing. And I'm like, fuck, that's like my ideal situation for the future.
That's the domino effect that you want to go ahead and put on and leave your print in your community,
Yeah.
Like you want to leave that inspiration and also like the drive and the passion and deep rooted in your community, because you always say multiple times that you want to get to the root of the problem to solve the issue.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I want to do the same thing. His name was Max Moses. Same thing that Max Moses did to me. Well, that sounds weird, but he did for me.
Yeah.
When I was a teenager, and I think it was great. I think it ended up saving my life. It changed.
Damn.
Yeah, honestly, it changed my life because it set me. I ended up check this out. I was still doing graffiti. I was hitting up the streets, running out of my house at 1 a.m. with the homies to go hit up the tunnels and all that. One day my dad called me at 3 a.m. with a bag full of spray cans. I was going to hit up, and my dad pulled up and he called me. I was like, fuck, But I was doing that, and I got in trouble. I got caught up. I was a kid, 14, 15 years old, and they put me in the graffiti prevention class. So they give me 100 hours of community service. They put me on probation, and they made me do this graffiti prevention class, right? And that class was whack. It really, it didn't help, but it did change my life. It did change things for me, because I went to that class and I learned the true nature of what graffiti is. Because they showed this movie called Bumming the System. If you haven't seen the movie, I recommend you watch it. Because then it shows a perspective on graffiti, and that the graffiti artist's life, and a generational graffiti artist.
Sick.
And watching that changed my mentality on graffiti. And I was like, oh, I like that better. I want to do that. I want to be like that. It also introduced me into other graffiti writers. So these graffiti writers, I got to know them, And one of them, his name is Cirque. The homie Cirque, Mikey. He I clicked up with him a lot. Rest in peace to the homie. But I clicked up with him, and he went to get a tattoo, and I was like, "What? You got a tattoo? Let me see that shit." And then it started at the old tattoos. And then I got my first tattoo, and then that's when I made my choice. Like, hell yeah, I'm gonna be a tattoo artist. And so then I became a tattoo. Then that's when I chose to be a tattoo artist, and then I chose the art path, and I pivoted from the path that I was going in. Which was just gonna get me in either dead or locked up. And I pivoted into tattoos, and then that pivoted into murals, and then that pivoted into what I'm doing now. But if I hadn't taken that class, if I hadn't met those people, if I hadn't gotten in trouble that day, I wouldn't be here right now, or in this position, or maybe doing the same thing I'm doing right now. I'll probably be doing something else. But that changed my life. And interestingly enough, that graffiti class is my class now. So now I run that class. The same thing. The kids in probation parole, like me, they go to my class. And now I teach them, and I make sure that they do come out of my class with some knowledge. I just there was an old white lady that gave me a piece of paper, said, "Fill this up, watch this movie." That was it. I didn't learn nothing not to do graffiti. It didn't prevent me for nothing.
Hey, bro, at least you got to watch a good movie, and definitely helped you out.
Yeah, right. And like on the long run, it did end up helping, and then changed. But at that moment, I didn't feel like it. For many years, I didn't feel like it. But now, being older and looking back in retrospect and seeing my life from that point, I was like, you know what? Fuck, thank you, white lady, whatever your name was. You had that class and it teach me this. So it serves an example how I could do this and be better. And now I try to pass that out to the next generation.
Yeah, big shout out to all the mentors out there that really try to spark that light in some of these future minds, because as we mentioned, sometimes circumstances are hard, and all a kid needs is just that good safe space where they could truly be themselves and try to really be creative.
Yeah, and also some great advice goes a long way too. I mean, even Dentlok was right on the ball right there when he talks about, like, you don't know, like, the kind of message you get, like from an OG, from the older cat, because they got experience in life. So what they're trying to point you in the right direction. That message that might not come across you or be relevant at the time, but it'll leave an impression, and you won't even know it. Like that was a great full everything coming to full circle.
Yeah.
Story that you had, then, like,
Mhm.
you were right. That shit was a trip.
Yeah,
That shit was dope.
definitely. It's mentor. Max Moses mentored me on the mural, on the graffiti stuff. My tattoo mentors, they taught me how to tattoo. I was able to learn a lot. I was able to learn how to hustle. Like my Antonio Lopez, that's my tattoo mentor. He took me under his wing, and it was actually in Oceanside. We were working at Body Temple Tattoo over there by the police station in Osai, right?
Yeah, like in the Mid Valley.
Yeah, I
right
guess
in the
so.
mid.
Yeah, and that dude, he printed out a bunch of flyers, and he'll give me a fat stack and say, "Get the fuck out of my shop. Go pass this out, and you could either come back when you need more, when you need more flyers, or when you have a client with you. If you don't have, if it's not either one of them, I don't want to fucking see you here." Like that, but a lot rougher. He's an OG gangster guy, and he was not nice. I was 18 at the time, and I was shy. My English still wasn't good. I was still in the learning process. I came from Mexico. I didn't learn English until I was like 11, 12 years old. That's when I started to pick it up. So I was shy, and I wouldn't talk as much. But he pushed me to talk and to get out of that shell and hustle and sell. And so we will go down to the pier. This is a spot with there's a marine shuttle that comes from Pendleton, and they just drop them off in the same corner, the same bus. They just get on that bus at Pendleton, and it drops them off at the pier. So we would sit, me and the homie would stand right there with the flyers. And as they were coming off the shuttle, here you go, bro. Come get us. Come get tattoo. Yeah, we got this special going on. Pow, pow, pow. We'll give you a ride. Then hop in the car. And we'll put them in the car. There was no Uber. So a taxi was like 60, $80 from the pier to the shop. So I was charging them $10 a head. 5 dudes in my car. That's $50. Cool, $50 for all 5 of you. Let's go. And I would go take them to the shop and drop them off. And then I would talk with them about what they want to get tattooed. I would draw that shit up. I would set up the artist. The artist would tattoo them, and get cashed in. At the end of the day, those dudes will break me off, and that's how I make some money. So I learned to sell myself. I learned to sell the homies, and I learned to make money with them. And that's why I started. And thanks to that dude, because he pushed me to do that. And again, great OG, super sick. Now this mentorship program, I got a couple of G's that are talking to me and letting me know, like, hey, Dan, be like this, tell them this, like, so more, a little bit more. Another OG trying to tell me how I could be better, and so I listen and try to keep that going.
Yeah, can't wait to see some of these future projects, bro. I mean, you're always manifesting. You're always on the hustle. I know you're mentioning maybe even a little bit of WWE in November. We'll see where it leads. But right now, some more of the projects that you got going on for 2025. Well, what can you share with everybody?
So the Red Mysterio Wall, we're doing. I'm part of this other art team. We're with the Logan Heights CDC. We're working with San Diego Caltrans, and we got a pretty good grant from them. We're still in the process of getting it. It takes time to get money from these organizations. It's got to trickle down because they can't just give it to us directly. They got to give it to an organization, so they got to give it to a nonprofit, and then the nonprofit got to give it to us. But this project is gonna be on the overpass of the 5 freeway on Imperial Avenue. So when you're on the 5 and you get off on Imperial, you turn left towards the southeast. You go left to southeast, and you go right towards downtown. So you go to southeast, you go under the bridge, and we're gonna do 2 murals on each side of the inside of the overpass. So one of them would depict the Shelltown, Sherman, the Sherman neighborhood and its history, and the other side would talk about the history of Barrio Logan. And we went all the way back to the Kumijay people. The Kumijay were the first people to walk this land. It was originally their land before the Spaniards came and the Mexicans came and they all that. And then we lost the land to the Americans and the Americans came. So we talk about all that in the murals. We show a glimpse of that. Barrio Logan had the Kumijay came, the Mexicans came, and then the history of the tuna fishing and the development of the neighborhood, important buildings, the park, and then the future, and like all that pollution. I don't know if you guys know, but Barrio Logan sits at the 98% of percentage of pollution in the city. It is the most polluted neighborhood in San Diego. I think before that it's like City Heights, but it's Barrio Logan and then City Heights in pollution. So we talk about that, and that pollution comes from Nasco and all those.
Yeah, it's a bunch of ships out there.
Yeah, all of that. That shit produces a lot of nasty stuff, and then we're locked in between all these freeways and all that. That produces a lot, and so it gets clogged into that area. So we're talking about that, and then we talk about the future, how the use is gonna clean that up and make it a nice, living, beautiful utopia, right? And then on the Sherman side, we talk about it. We talk about John Sherman, the guy the boss Sherman. Like, he was an old military dude. He retired after the Mexican War. He moved to San Diego, and he bought all of Sherman, all that land for like 20 cents an acre. Like, that was a shit lot of money. He spent like $200, and he bought all that land, like, from the 5 to the 15 and some more.
Dang.
Yeah. So we talk about that and the transitions, and same thing goes into the future, and then it's a group of artists, the local Southeast people, local neighborhood, and we all came together and we worked on the design. We submitted it. We finally got it approved. So now we're just waiting on the money so we can start painting, so we can get supplies and paint it and put it on the wall. Since the wall is kind of hard, it's hard to access, to paint on. We can't do a scaffold and paint it directly. So we had to use something called polytab. Polytab is this non-porous, what's it called, like tela, like I forgot the word right now.
Kind of like canvas almost.
Kind of like a canvas, yeah, but it doesn't. The canvases have little holes in it, because it's woven. This thing is not. It's just like printed out like that or something. But you prep that, and then you paint on that, and then you can attach that to the wall. And so if anything happens, we are able to remove the mural. So like it saves it. The point is, so we could save the mural just in case call chance one day decides, you know what, we don't want that shit on there. Let's move it. So we could go over there, add some chemicals, and remove it, and then transport that mural to somewhere else.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. It's old. Honestly, it's been around for a while. They mostly used it in L.A. The technique was developed in L.A. and they started because the mural movement started over there, and then they moved down here, and then it spread, right? So now we decided to use that, and I think that's the best way to approach that, to put it on that wall. So that's gonna work, and then we're painting the pillars on the 15 freeway, same thing on Imperial. So we're painting 5 and the 15. So each of us, I think there's a total of 10 artists in total. We'll get a pillar, and it's all music team, and we're gonna go paint the pillars. So that's gonna be sick. But that's all part of the same program, the same group of artists
Yeah, through Caltrans.
through Caltrans. Yeah, that's the first time that they do this. They did something similar with Max Moses, more in like Encanto area, but it's a different style of artwork. It's Max Moses style. Shout out to the OG. But this is gonna be the first mural of its type to be worked out with Caltrans. Because they haven't done it. I think the last mural they actually painted before these two projects, Max Moses and ours, it was the Martin Luther King on the 94. And that was painted like maybe 15 years ago, a little 20. The guy that was in charge of Caltrans retired. And the new guy, he likes art. So he wants to work with us, and they're starting to get in on that. So that's pretty sick. That's cool. I'm excited to be part of that team. I'm excited we're writing the book on how to do it, because we had to figure out how to deal with Caltrans. Because Caltrans got rules and things that you can't post, things that you can't paint. People can't be alive. You can't use red, yellow, or green. You can't use words. There's a lot of things, hurdles that we had to jump to be able to give them the art that we want and get it approved. So that they like it too, So we figured that out. We know how to do it now. So we could take it to another community. Like, here's the book. Now you guys paint yours. Like, here you go. Nah, this is how we did it. This is how you're gonna do it. You could do it too. So I'm glad to be part of that team that's doing this. And then we're working in another section in San Diego. This is the border between the Southeast and National City. So it's on division in Maine.
Like by the 54?
No, in the other 5.
Okay.
Like 43rd, like we go to Nurgate on the area. Okay, so with that freeway, when you get off on 43rd, there's that off ramp, and there's that on ramp, and then all that little triangle of freeways that goes through that area. I work with this organization called Mundo Gardens and Vision Culture, and with the coalition of other organizations, they sued the state for that land, and they won the lawsuit. They took it to the Supreme Court. And they sued the state because of racism, because back in the day there was something called, it still is there, it's called redlining, and so this is a racist form of segregation. The people in charge of the city at the time said brown people and minority people cannot get out of this line, cannot own houses past this line, they cannot go out of there. And they redlined us. They caged us in the Southeast. And, it sounds crazy, right? Like, I was like, what the fuck? These people did that? Like how is that possible? And it's so possible that they took it to the Supreme Court and won. They proved it. They proved that they caused this, that they caused that segregation, they caused that separation between the communities. They break the communities apart. They build these freeways that displace a lot of people and destroy homes and separated neighborhoods and created problems, creating area problems of segregation of low-income people and, You know, they put hardened police and all that. You know, it created what we know as the Southeast, right? Like Southeast is like the hood and all that. But that was created because of racism. If it wasn't for that, we would have been somewhere else. But that's what happened. Took it to Supreme Court and they won the land back. So now that land belongs to the people, and so all those freeway pillars are gonna be painted on. That whole section is gonna be turned into community to serve the community. You know, there'll be different like parks and businesses and all this stuff that they're planning to create, along with more art. So that's a big project that's coming up, and I'm happy to lead the team in painting those murals. You know.
Hell yeah, Dentlok out here making waves, making history, bringing color to the city.
Your schedule's busy as fuck.
Hell
boy.
yeah.
Yeah, you know, but I still find time to spend time with my family and my kids. You know, I involve on everything. You know, my girls that paint, that follow me. You know, I keep my girls busy. You know, my oldest, she does danza. She plays the jarana. She goes, you know, she plays piano and she sings. My youngest, she's doing similar stuff. You know, I keep them busy, and that was scary a sketchbook with them. That's what they got, a little sketchbook, and they got it with them.
Throw it in your pocket, throw it in your purse. Sick. Oh man. Well, if you guys made it this far into the Dentlok interview, thank you so much for tuning in with the follow up. Shout out to the Instagram, shout out to the YouTube, shout out to the Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you tune in. Much appreciated.
Yeah, man. So far, it's been a great episode. So far, all these episodes have been great this season.
Yeah,
honestly.
great 2025 so far.
Yeah, man. It's almost half the year so far. We're in April.
True. Yeah. Tell me about it. Goes
Shit.
crazy.
Oh, you know, time flies, man. Like you blink and now it's a different month. We're almost in the middle of the year. It's almost May. We're a week away from May.
Yeah, straight up. And I mean, it's been a year and a half, dude. Like last time we had you, it was November of 2023.
Oh,
Like that whole year just flew by, bro.
yeah, definitely. That's crazy. And a lot of things happened during that time. You know, a lot of things developed. Good stuff, real good stuff.
Yeah, and we're glad that we're nothing but good stuff, dude. We are so thrilled and happy that you were able to come back and join us for another podcast, and hopefully we could get a third one in, dude. Especially if what you're envisioning and manifesting works out, where you can work with the WWE, bring some color to the city, and just have new opportunities develop. Can't wait to hear it. Can't wait to have a third episode, and maybe we could even do it at your studio, bro. That'd be sick.
Oh yeah, sure, we could do that. I got the space for it. I guess you guys got to figure out the cameras and stuff, but
Oh, that's easy. That's
we could do it.
Yeah.
You got power in the building. We good to go, my boy.
Yeah, we'll even take the Wi-Fi. That's fine.
Yeah, definitely, man. That'd be sick. That'd be nice. We could do that. Yeah, let me know. We'll make that work. I think you guys haven't been to my studio, huh?
No,
Not yet.
actually, no, we have
You
not been there.
should. This is beautiful. I love that place.
Yeah, we'll definitely pull up. Then,
Yeah,
heck yeah.
It's like its own little park. It's full of murals, full of paintings. I have most of my canvases hanging on the walls. You know, so I like it. It's colorful and bright.
Yeah. Well, for everybody that tuned in, where could people find you at, reach you at, or even pull up to your shop at?
All right. Well, so my shop is in Barrio Logan. It's in the back of Por Vida. So if you show up, I'll be there. You most likely have better chance just looking me up on Instagram. I had Dentlok Tattoo Arts and reaching out to me through there, and because I mostly just work by appointments, you know. So if I'm not tattooing, I'm off doing something. I'm doing a class or painting the wall or like at home with my kids, chilling, you know.
That's
So
right.
that's it.
That's right. All right. Well, Bruce, anything else you want to add on? Well, we still got time, bro. We still got time.
Well, anything that we do got to add on. I mean, then want to go ahead and show this.
Oh yeah.
Fire right here. I just popped this out the
Yeah.
corner.
Thanks, that one's hanging up in this wall for sure, brother.
Hell yeah. That's my little Dentlok, you know, my what do you call it? Like
It's like your emblem, your logo.
yeah, that face.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that yin yang.
Yeah, the yin yang kind of like, yeah, that's Brad, dude.
Yeah, you'll find
Thank
that
you.
on all my murals. You go look at them. I have it hidden somewhere. It's part of everything that I've done. I sneakily throw it in the corner and throw it in the middle of it, just so that you know that was me. Yeah, it's in my paintings too. Like I signed my paintings with it. So that's my logo. That's where it comes from.
Yeah, thanks, Dan. Like, we definitely appreciate the gift because it's tight, dude. I mean, when you handed it to me, like it felt like it was freshly painted. Like it was still kind of a
Yeah,
little damp.
yeah. Because I had to click with it, make sure it was heavy. I hid the bag so I could seal the back a little bit more, so it looks better. And I hadn't sprayed the corners. You know, like the corners you see the white. I don't like that. It looks like toyish. You know, so for better presentation, you paint the edges of the canvas so it looks better. So
Ooh, that's a good tip right there.
I could definitely see that shit like in a graffiti cartoon, bro.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
what it's
man.
supposed to be. You know,
Mhm.
that's like my character, I guess. You know, like I think people come on like what was his name? Man, I can't remember. This OG does graffiti. He always writes that bunny. It's like a little bunny, like a face with a bunny. I forgot his name, but he's an OG guy. He always does that. He's everywhere. People know him by that. We got that lady, Mr. B baby. She's always doing that chuco. That's like her signature thing, you know.
No, what's his name? Chucho, right?
Chucho,
Chucho.
yeah,
Chucho? Yeah.
yeah. That thing is
Shout
sick,
out.
dude. You know, she uses it on everything. I think that's tight because it brands yourself and see recognizes. So that's my version of branding me. You know that character.
I remember one of the homies actually ended up being like in the costume one of those nights. Like
Oh,
we
the
met up with her.
sick, yeah. She does a lot with that, man. That's
Mhm.
good, smart. You know, that's good for her.
I see what you mean though with like the logos and emblems and like the characters, you know, that relate to the graffiti to the artists themselves.
Yeah, definitely. You know, like I think I mean, like Mr. Cartoon, you know, that clown. You can recognize the cartoon that clown that's Mr. Cartoons. You know, like certain things that it just like ties you up to the person. So the a signature, like a wrestler's got a signature, the finisher. That's the finisher.
Yeah, I feel that. Gotta
Sick,
have a
sick.
signature, and that's how you really make that stamp on the world. You know, they see it, they could think about you and recognize you right away.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. It's like a little Easter egg. I hide it on there. Like I had this wall in Borough Logan. It's on Samson, on Logan Avenue, and it's a big wall. It's a two-story house, and it shows two schools dancing. So it's a guy and a girl dancing, and then that one, like my daughters and my wife. My wife went up it there,
Yeah.
cause the wall, it's slanted. So I had a ladder, and the ladder was like a 35 degrees sideways, and that shit was scary, bro. I tried to go out there to do a sketch, and I couldn't. So I asked my wife to do it, and my wife went up there and she did it for me. I was too
That's
scared.
right.
I'm like,
That's
man,
right.
fuck that shit. I'm a fault. You got insurance.
Shout out to the wives.
Yeah, she does good.
All right. Well, before we head out, we do have a couple extra comments that came in through. Let me see. Right here, we got Cassandra saying logo, his stamp.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, exactly.
Sick. And on the IG, no comments or emojis on IG, but definitely a lot of people that tuned in.
Oh yeah, Eddie
we-
talking
yeah,
about
we
that
got-
time he was in.
Yeah.
He was in
Oh,
Chucho's
yeah.
costume.
Yeah, he said
that
that-
was the homie that was in that costume.
Yeah, Eddie's saying that's me. Yeah. Shout out to Eddie.
I'm glad I recorded that.
It was a good time, man. It was a fun time in LA for
It
sure.
was. Yeah, man. Well, then like we appreciate you strolling by, bro, and making the trip out here, you know, and also sharing the stories and the experience and giving a follow up to a fucking great previous interview that we had with you, bro. Because this is also dope. The first one is dope as well.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
I
Thank you.
can't imagine how many more are gonna come down the line.
Yeah. Hopefully more. We'll come back with more updates.
Right.
Yeah.
Nothing but good stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing but good stuff, bro. Again, Dentlok, thank you for the episode. Thank you for what you do out here in the community with the youth, and thank you for the murals that you've done throughout San Diego and here in Oceanside, bro.
Thank you. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
man. Appreciate you. I can't. I don't do it all myself. I got a village behind me, and because of those people, I'm able to do everything. So I think that's the best. That's the most important thing. It's just I didn't do it all on my own. Doors were open because people like me and people believed in me, and they saw they see what I can do, and they helped me open those doors, and I walked through them, and then I threw the rope, and then I in turn bring the rest of my homies with me too, you know. So I'm grateful for that, and I think because I do that, it's gonna help me come up more, you know. And then I just keep doing it until I can't.
Hell yeah, definitely having another episode. All right, well, no more comments. Or actually, one last comment.
Oh, one
Boom,
last
right
comment,
here
right?
from Tony, saying my boy Dentlok. Thank you, Tony. Thank you for tuning in.
Fool, you
it's been a
spelled my
ride.
name wrong.
yeah, I see it right there.
Yeah, you should know.
But yeah, for you guys who made it late into the episode, just rewind it back on the YouTube, rewind it back on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, and rewatch the Dentlok interview because it was tight, man. A lot of gems and a lot of things to look forward to this 2025.
Yeah, most definitely. Yet, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. And we're going to go ahead and catch y'all around next time. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Go ahead and keep tapping in every week. Yo, thank you for supping with us. Thank you for talking up with us. Thank you for kicking it.
Adios. Keep painting.